Okay, well, hello. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We are on our last Community Connections webinar series at the end of June. We're going to cover our top features in Koha today. And at the end of this webinar, we'll talk about the next series that is coming along. So don't think that we've forgotten to continue doing this. It's just the end of this little quarter of these. We did have a question. We are allowing you to chat in the chat box. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. And my colleague Elise will be able to answer those or stop me during the webinar and I'll answer it. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have today. My name is Kelly McGilligot and I'm part of the sales team, the former educator here at Bywater, and I'm happy to talk about some great features in Koha. And I can tell you, I will continue to say, this is my favorite. This is my favorite as we go through. So let me go ahead. I'm going to stop my share and just start sharing another screen. It's hard for me to choose. They're like my little children. Okay. We're actually going to start in the OPAC today. So before we jump into the staff side, of course, I do have some few top features that I wanted to talk about in the public-facing catalog, the OPAC. And this is just one example of how your Koha OPAC can look. During a migration to Koha, you will work with a web designer, and together you can decide on the look and feel of your OPAC, colors, fonts, what it looks like in the center, what are those options, if any, on the left or on the right-hand side. You have some nice links at the top, and further down, we also have some information at the bottom. So it's a great way to start looking at what you could potentially do to help your patrons find what they're looking for in your library catalog, but also potentially feel as though they've never left your library website. You could almost mimic the look and feel of your website in a way. So this is all an extension of the library. I really like to see libraries that integrate library resources or other information about the library through the OPAC, because we all know that we're multitasking and potentially doing multiple things at once. So if I'm looking for a book and then I think, oh, what about summer reading? What's going on in the library summer reading? Maybe there'd be a nice link on the library catalog that would allow me to find out that information. And that's what's helpful on these side links over here. These can be links out to other areas. You can see we have like Bywater Solutions and the Koha community, but in addition, you could certainly do that. You also have the advantage of adding links at the top. One of the great little features that Koha has is it allows you to create additional pages within both the OPAC and the staff interface. Now, my Friends of the Library looks like the OPAC at the top, so I'm not leaving the OPAC feel as a patron, but I do get some information about the Friends of the Library, and it tells me a little bit about it and how I can get involved, and as well as when the annual book sale is. And it looks like I need to update that because it was last year, July. Now, what we're also doing here in the center, and I love this, and my library does not have a nice landing page that allows us to see that kind of Netflix feel about browsing those books as you go into libraries and you see all those forward-facing books. That's what this is really looking like. And we've created reports in the Koha staff interface that is just populating our newest fiction by a specific date. So something we've cataloged in the last 90 days, go ahead and throw it in the fiction. And of course, if that's fiction, and as well as our nonfiction. So this is a kind of a set it and forget it report that's run and then displaying those cover images. We also have a staff pick list, and this is something that staff can curate on the Koha staff interface and allow people to add their staff picks. So from that list, those cover images are coming through. So something I really also like about the Koha OPAC that allows that integration of what we have displays in our library, and we can also have displays on our OPAC. You know, we just celebrated Juneteenth. Wouldn't it have been great to have like a nice little Juneteenth list to display our cover images? And if you follow our Bywater Instagram, you could have seen a couple of public catalogs that highlighted those. Really fun. Another top feature that I always like about the Koha OPAC is this little user summary over here. It not only tells me all my checkouts and without me even having to go in there. Once I'm logged in, I can certainly see this, but I also can see a number of checkouts. Uh-oh, I have something overdue, but also my total savings. So how much I've saved by using the library, which is really cool. Okay, a few more things in the Koha OPAC that I wanted to show off before we headed over to the staff interface. What we have here is once I've made a search, I can certainly search within just that keyword search using 1 word, 2 words. Koha is going to bring back results that show me the results that have those keywords within the title or author or summary, somewhere within the mark fields. Koha integrates with a few e-content providers such as Overdrive and Hoopla and Cloud Library. So you're going to have complete integration with those. Your users are going to be able to see those results within the Overdrive collection. They're going to be able to check out, place them on hold, and also see them within their checkouts within the patron summary. So they never have to go to multiple sites to see if they can get it through another third-party site, especially since it's integrated with your library. It's great to have it all together. Another thing that I really like about the look about the OPAC is just the ability to create this display. We're pulling in images. These are complementary images from our COSI server. They're coming from Amazon, Google Books, or Open Library using the ISBN. So if you have something there and they can find an image, it will absolutely display. You can also, from the staff interface, you can upload your own images and those will also display. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and make a search. It's not coming up, but that's okay. Another thing you can do is you can have online resources linked within your record. So once you have something that has an 856 or a URL, and you need to give access or you want to let your patron know that this is a resource, but they need to go out and get it, that PDF or that video or that other resource, you're able to clearly identify those. You can determine the look and the feel of this little button as well as what it says. So that's pretty fun as well. I am logged in and I'm like really enjoying my garden. So I'm going to just only do garden searches, but I wanted to just show how a user can go in there and place multiple things on hold at the same time. I'm not sure why my cover images are not coming up, but they seem to come up and then they go away. So I apologize for that. I am logged in, so you can see my name at the top. And I'm just going to go ahead and click a few of these on this right-hand side, maybe these 3. And then I'm going to click this place hold. So as a user in the library, I'm able to place multiple items on hold at the same time. So you can see there's that first one. I'm able to pick a specific item if it allows me to. This is my second one, and this is my third one. I can add notes. I can say the hold that's not needed after, and this is all driven from your Koha staff interface for your patrons, but I can go ahead, place all 3, and then confirm that hold. I mean, who doesn't love when they find an author and they're like, I want them all. Like, I want them all. I'm going to read them all this summer and let me place them on hold. So you can absolutely do that. One more thing that I want to show you in your account before we head over to the staff interface is you have the ability to a few things. You can view your library card right from here. How many times have you like completely lost your library card? You're in the library. They want to be able to scan that. If you pull up this on your phone or device, you can absolutely show them that. You also have your Overdrive checkouts and Hoopla or Cloud Library checkouts right here. So I can easily see those and see what is coming up and needed. The last thing I want to show is this alert subscriptions. If you are a magazine reader and your library still has magazines, mine are slowly dwindling at my library. Koha has the ability for users to be able to subscribe to alerts for new subscriptions. So if there is a serial that you are interested in, you can certainly sign up for those alerts, and then you'll get emails when that next issue comes in. So that's always really fun. Okay, we're going to head over to the staff interface now. Let me see what okay, I'm at 100%. The Koha staff interface is completely web-based. So all the modules are on your computer through the internet. You can use any major internet browser, Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge. And what I just did was I could easily make my screen bigger or smaller because I'm on a browser. So thinking about all those tricks that you do every day of your life on browsers, multiple tabs. If you're on a super small device, trying to get my edge of my screen here. Okay, hold on. You're on a super small device, it's going to be mobile responsive. So you're able to go out into the public, or you're attending some sort of farm fair where you want to sign up library patrons. You can certainly bring that on an iPad or even a cell phone if you wanted to. Carry it along in your bike mobile or your little bookmobile, whatever have you. You can certainly use the Koha staff interface to create patrons, check people out, run reports, do everything that you can do in your Koha when you're sitting in your office, Koha staff interface. Another thing that I always like to talk a little bit about is just how customizable the Koha staff interface is. Just like we saw on the OPAC, we were able to add links and add colors and images, all that jazz to our OPAC. And we certainly can do that on the staff interface as well. We're bringing in a little report at the bottom here. We have some links over here on the left, and these are staff-based. So this is really going to be helpful to your staff if they don't have to find that resource somewhere outside the staff interface. Remember, they're all linked, so you can certainly go over here and make a click, and that will open a new tab and bring you to that resource. You can also add links to the top. I've seen lots of libraries have links if they're supported by Bywater, like submit a ticket, ask a question. You can certainly integrate any of that into the Koha staff interface. Another thing about the Koha is you can have permissions for your users. So all your staff members can sign in using their own username and password. You can set a strong you can have them set a strong password. You can have those passwords expire every so often, making sure that that privacy is up to date and that security is really there. And with those logins come permissions. So everyone has their own permissions. If they never work in the public and would never need the use of a point of sale feature, they wouldn't have that permission and therefore wouldn't even see that option on their screen. Less clutter. Let me just see what I need to see on a day-to-day basis. I'm not having to click everywhere. I'm really just streamlining my workflow. I'm logged in as a super librarian, so I can see everything. So that's why you're like, well, you know, if I wasn't, you would see less on my screen. So that's really fantastic. The other thing that when we talked about it on the OPAC was those web pages. So again, I created a web page that would bring my users to a resource page. Again, they're still kind of in the staff interface. I haven't left. And I have just some resources right here that they can link to. Clicking back to that home button will bring me back home, as well as the back button. I could always make that so it opens up into a new tab if I wanted. Another great feature is the last patron option. So if you turn this on, you are able to see the last 10 patrons that this person sitting at this desk on this browser accessed. I mean, how many of us in their library life have said, I will absolutely put that on hold for you, and then they walk away And 3 people later, you're like, I was supposed to do something for some patron. And now I need to remember what that patron was. Hopefully, you remember the book or the patron, one or the other. But the patron, I've got you covered. You do have this last patron option that will bring you back to those patrons. So that is browser specific, user login specific. Not everyone will see everyone you've already talked to. It will just be that browser. I will never stop talking about the ways that Koha searches for patrons and staff members, but especially staff members. Koha has 3 ways that the user can search within the catalog. Up in this green bar, I can go ahead and type any words like you saw me do in the OPAC, garden, gardening club, what have you. Koha is going to bring back those results. I have an advanced search option, which will allow me to really make sure that that reference interview that I'm having with my patron, I'm able to hit all the boxes that that patron wants, whether it's an audiobook by a specific author or it's a DVD that came out this year. I can certainly look for that information from this advanced search. So super powerful. It's going to let me do my Boolean operators, search by a specific item type, somewhere in the library, a shelving location, or a collection code. And these are 3 great ways to organize your collection. During a migration to Koha, you'll talk heavily about just how you want to organize your collection. And maybe what I always like to see people do is like throw it up in the air and let's see how things can be shaken up and change it up and see how our patrons are searching for material. And you can certainly doing that during a migration. You can also, on the bottom, you can search for other things. What's at your library? What's currently available? Limits of years. For those catalogers, these subtype limits, these are coming from your 008. So you can certainly search for different types of content and how it's cataloged. And then you can change the way that it's sorted. It's sorted by relevancy by default, but again, this advanced search lets you go ahead and change the way those searches are conducted for the specific search. Then the last search, and the most amazing search, is the ability to use the item search. Now, if there's anybody that's already using Koha, they may notice this looks a little different. I'm using the Koha, the newest version of Koha, which is 2405. So for our library partners, they are getting this upgrade in August, and they will see this change when they get it. But this is a little bit of a different look for the item search. It allows users to not use the drop-down options, and I'm saying drop-down and you can see a drop-down, but I'm able to go ahead and search those drop downs and then easily pick those. And if you do know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you're like, this is fine, this is great, but this is completely different than it used to be in the item search. But beyond that, beyond how it looks a little different now, I have the ability to search for a lot of the same things I had in the advanced search up to a certain point. Then I have the ability to search by status. So if I needed to run a missing report or a lost, if I'm looking for anything that's withdrawn or damaged or something that's, not for loan, I can certainly do that. So think about your, I call this the project search. It really kind of puts your searching a little bit further out there. Not necessarily maybe helping a patron, but sometimes. Then further on, you can see I can look at for a specific what's available on the shelf, what's checked out, what's not checked out. I have the ability to search by other fields in different ways, where it's an is or an is not, and using my wildcards. And then I have some custom search fields, which allow me to create my own fields to search. So that could be from the mark field. So I'm using that in my accelerator reader, my local note from my 590, or something from the item itself or the item holding, like, hey, let's see what we have hidden from our public catalog. Let's see everything that's been suppressed in our catalog. Maybe we need to do a little cleanup. So in addition to what it's already populated, you can add your own custom fields. And then down further, you can do a call number range, look at the number of checkouts. If it's looking at greater than or equal to a certain checkout, you can certainly do all those. I'm going to clear this. I'm just going to look at East Branch. Once you do a search, it's going to look a little different than we saw on the other ways that searching occurs. In this case, we get a lot of the fields right from the get-go. So if I scroll over, you can see them all. I can certainly look by title. I can reorganize it. So you can see this little caret that lets me do ascending or descending or A to Z, Z to A. I can also start typing in within that title field and pre-populate the values if I'm looking for something specific. I have an easy clickable link right to the barcode, which would allow me to mark something lost or damaged. As I scroll over a little bit, I can see if something is missing, withdrawn, damaged, the number of checkouts, when it was last checked out, and if it's checked out, when it's due. Right from here, I can go ahead, edit the item or edit the record if I wanted to. And then also, I have a couple of other options. If I start to check a few, I now can either export these to a barcode file or a CSV. I also could make any changes, making batch item modifications or batch item deleting right from my item search. If I did want to grab a barcode file, I can certainly grab that barcode file. And then from that barcode file, I can put those into one of the other, same thing, batch item modification, batch item deletion. So I have lots of capability within the item search, and it's just spot on, really just spot on in my mind how it works. Okay, a couple other things I only have 30 minutes, so I have to pull out all the good ones. Koha started a module called the Electronic Resource Management module about 2 releases ago. I want to say it happened at the end of 2023. And this allows libraries to manage any electronic resources, going from their agreements and their licensing, also uploading their e-holdings, whether those are local packages or through EBSCOhost. If you did have some files that you got from a specific vendor, you can certainly import those into Koha or import as MARC records or import that information from a KBART file right into the system. Once you've done all that and you have this really great data, you also can create reports from that information. So you can do usage statistic reports. Once you've got that data within the system, you can certainly run those reports. And of course, these reports are going to vary from the reports that you're pulling in from the specific provider. Always been a tricky word for me, always been a tricky word. So it's really grown exponentially since the beginning of this electronic resource management process to allow users to not have to go to another site to be able to manage those resources that they have outside of those physical materials within the library. So it's a really a great way to get that data in one place and have everybody be able to see it. Another really great area that I personally love is the reporting module. Every piece of data. So I'm talking, your MARC data, your patron data, your item data, that ERM data is all going to be reportable. That reporting is going to happen through the reporting module, and Koha reports are written in SQL. There are lots of great resources out there, such as the Koha report library and the Mana knowledge base that the Koha community has come together and created resources to allow users to be able to create these SQL reports. When you migrate to Koha, you're going to get about 50 reports put onto your system, but we at Bywater will create as many reports as you want throughout your time as you're supported by us. So we will not stop you from asking for lots of reports to be able to be created. We all know that we work busy days, and sometimes we just don't have the time or the bandwidth to go ahead and potentially create an SQL report on the fly for a specific director's report that you need. So you can certainly do that. Once those reports have been created for you, they're going to live in your report library. You can organize them by tab and assign them a certain area, which will be helpful for users. And then once those reports are in there, you're going to be able to easily go ahead and run those on demand. So once that report's in there, you can hit that run and get that data. Any report that's in your Koha report library can also be scheduled on a frequency. So once a month, every 30 days, on the first of the month, on the 15th of the month, every 2 weeks. And those results can be emailed to you directly. I'm going to go ahead and run a report, this CIRC report. And I'm going to put the year. So this is looking at all my circulation within last year by month. So I have issues, renewals, returns, and those total transactions. This is a really nice report. However, Koha can also create chart reports for you. So taking that data and making it look pretty. So pie, line, or bar, this chart and report are both exportable from Koha. The chart you can export as an SVG. The report you can download as a CSV or tab separated text, and easily be able to put that in a really nice place when you need to look at details. Any reports that are in your system can certainly be edited and customized to your library. So if you wanted to do it something a little different, you could certainly come in here and make those edits, or of course, ask Bywater to make those changes for you. Let's look at one more, because I always get asked about like just collection development and what kind of information that you can collect from your from Koha for that collection development. So I created a report for by age. So we could go ahead and look at our collection by age. It's a pretty fantastic. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. Obviously, these top ones probably don't have age in there, but you can see how many items I have within my system by a date range of about 10 years each, or 5 years actually each. So you can kind of see your age of collection. So pretty fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to show you, no, it's not, this is not copying. Oh, there it goes. There we go. As you're thinking, potentially moving over to a different software, ILS software, know that Koha integrates with a lot of third-party vendors. So the best part about Koha, because it's open source, you're able to get that data that you need. It has SIP compliance, so you can connect to all your SIP connections, thinking about PC reservation or Envisionware, account management information. It also has Z39.50 connections. It can connect to a discovery layer. You can use Edifact ordering. We talked about those e-resources. If you're working with a specific ILL service, we use INSIP protocol that will connect to, and these are just showing you the resource sharing services we've worked with. If you're looking at other applications such as Communico or PatientPoint, we connect to those. We also work with third-party products to make those phone calls or those text messages that you want, as well as any self-service machines or gates or RFIDs. It is so powerful to have this one piece of software that has all these connections, these open APIs, which allows other third-party vendors to work with us a lot more easily. In our systems team, we'll set up these connections that your library already has, or if you're looking at something in the future, we'll certainly work with you and make those connections. That's all part of our support and hosting within Bywater Solutions. Our number one job here is to support the library using open source software and really talking about how great our partnerships can be and our relationships as we go forward, and just looking to build good relationships, whether that's through libraries and their communities, as well as those third-party vendors. And that brings me to the big exciting thing about our next set of webinars. So let me pull that up. Okay, so our next set of webinars from July to December, you can see this, right? Power in partnerships. So I ended talking about those third-party vendors that we work with, and we just want to say that we put the party in partnerships. So we are going to be diving into those partnerships that we work with Koha, the ILS, and Bywater, starting with our first one in July, which will be at 2 p.m. on July 25th. And that's talking about the BT Cat integration with Koha. And we are going to have Travis Kelly, somebody from BT Cat, to talk to us about that integration with Koha and how it's going to make catalogers get really, really happy. So that's really impressive. So please, thanks for joining us. This recording will be sent out, and also check out our YouTube playlist to see all the past webinars that we've had.